Hey guys, I'm Justin Busef, and welcome to an episode of Self-Medicated. I know I've been gone for a while. I've been working on this one for quite some time, and it's probably going to be a 2, maybe 3-parter. I try to keep these videos short because I know we have the attention spans of goldfish nowadays. So thank you, TikTok. So we'll get right into it. Authenticity. Authenticity is being true to yourself, your feelings, your beliefs, your motives, your personality, right? Without conforming to what other people deem as good or appropriate or acceptable. Staying true to yourself and not creating a false persona in order to get acceptance, right? But being true to you. So I believe this is not proven, this is not like a fact, but this is just a personal belief of mine. But I believe that being inauthentic can affect 2 major parts of our lives, which is our magnetism and our audience. And what I mean by magnetism is the things in life that would naturally be drawn to you or be in your path, right? Like certain opportunities, job offers, relationships, whatever it may be, because based on your personality and how you are, you will naturally attract certain things towards you just by you being you, right? Your sense of humor, the way you act and interact, your behavior, your mannerisms, just your personality in general, you will attract certain things into your path just by you being you. So when you act in a way that is not true to you, right, and you're not behaving like yourself, you might miss out on certain opportunities, and it can screw you over, right? And then the other thing is your audience, and I believe that we all have an audience, everybody, no matter what your history or past is, and trust me, my past is a pretty bad past. I don't know a lot of people who chose to live the way that I chose to live for as long as I did, right? And yet, I still have an audience, right? There's people in this world that you have the ability to influence and impact just by sharing your experiences and being you. And people need to hear it. But yet, when we act and behave in a way that is not true to who we are, we miss out on speaking to that person who may need to hear from us, right? Because we're not acting in alignment with who we are. So, just some food for thought. I feel like social media really plays a big part in us being inauthentic because, we tend to post the highlights of our lives, right? Vacations and achievements and these happy moments, weddings, this, that, and not the nitty gritty. I know we don't want to see that. We go on Facebook, we don't want to see you bitching about your life. We all hate that. We all don't like that person that's crying about this guy every time. Girl, don't post that stuff on social media, But we tend to get caught up in that too, and it just creates this false reality of this picture perfect life and person that we are. And what sucks is there might be a pressure from others and yourself to want to live up to this persona or this idealized life that you have, and also it causes other people, right? And I've been guilty of this, to fall into this trap of comparing and seeking validation, right? We look at other people and we see their picture perfect life, and oh man, I should be like that, or why don't I have that, or why haven't I achieved that? And I get it. I wasted most of my life. I'm 34 years old. There's the people I grew up with. They're homeowners now. They have families and kids, and here I am, But and what sucks is when you get caught up in that comparing your life and holding it up to another person's life, it creates all these other negative emotions like envy and jealousy. We start, instead of being happy for this person, we're envious. We want what they have and we covet it. Instead of being truly happy, and then it causes ingratitude because then what we have is enough. What I have is enough. I'm holding next to my car next to his car is better. I want his car. Instead of being happy and content and grateful with what I have, right, I'm wanting what somebody else has, right? And then also, the last and very worst thing it can do is it forces us to want to create this also a different persona and post all these, exaggerate or highlight our life, a bit more than the truth is, right? And post it so others would be impressed by the life we have, when really it's not really true, right? So, anyways, here's why we do it. Here's why some of us are inauthentic sometimes. To please and impress. To please others and to impress others, right? And I think we've all had parents or maybe family members that, we wanted to impress or please, and like peer pressure to like just seeking acceptance and validations from other people. When you tie up your sense of worth and your identity and like your value into others, then now you're dependent upon them for that, right? So you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. So to please and impress others, and then peer pressure and expectations. There is some expectations people place on you, right? In order to fit in, you have to conform. Certain groups, like the majority voice speaks. And if we want acceptance from that group, we will tailor our identity and the person that we project out into society to like fit the narrative of that group, right? So like like pretty much echo their beliefs and their opinions and their thoughts, and that way if I do that, they have to accept me because I'm just sounding like one of them. I'm dressing the part, I'm doing all this, So peer pressure and expectations, fear. Right, the fear of rejection, the fear of maybe not being taken seriously, the fear of not being good enough, right? So we create a character, right, in the world that will negate those fears. For instance, the guy who's scared and a coward might pretend to be, might work out and get big and pretend to be tough and a badass, get all his tattoos, and that way no one will know underneath that he's really scared and he's really timid, right? So we create from fear. And then self-image issues. Some of us, we're not content with the person we are. We don't like the person we are. We have a hard time looking in the mirror maybe. And this stems from a very deep, seated, thought of not being good enough, right? And I used to walk around like that. I used to live my life where I thought that, and this was a lie, but I held on to this lie for so long. I had this thought that, everybody was better than me. Everybody that I came into contact with and saw, and they were better than me, and that kept me homeless, living in a bush for a long time, man. Just that thought, that little thought, man, has so much power. So self-image issues, right, will tend to make us feel like we have to be somebody else because the person we are isn't good enough. And if I'm the person I am, people won't like me, they won't accept me, so I have to be somebody else, right? Manipulation. Some of us put on a different mask in order to get what we want from others, right? To meet our own selfish ends. So we will, echo other people's thoughts and opinions and voice it, and that way, we gain their trust. We build rapport that way, and then we get what we want from that person, right? Exactly. A couple things you must be willing to do if you want to be authentic. These are some things you must be willing to do. You must be willing to look bad. If you are so concerned about looking good to everyone all the time, you will never be authentic, ever. You have to abandon that need, that want to look good in other people's eyes, and be okay with looking bad, right? Just the way it is. Be vulnerable. You must be willing to be vulnerable. You have to let down your walls and let people in and be transparent and open, wisely, with certain people, right? But for the most part, you have to be vulnerable. If you want to be transparent, you want to be like, look, this is who I am. This is what my heart's at, and talk about your feelings, whatever it is. You can still do that and be manly. Trust me. So be vulnerable. Face rejection. You must be willing to face rejection. You must be willing to lose people, and not fit in, and not be accepted, and people not like the person that you are. Because if you find yourself being liked by everybody, chances are you might be falling, unless you're me. But even me, I have a lot of people who don't like me. But where was I going with that? Damn it, Justin. If you find yourself being liked by everybody, right, then you might be tailoring who you are a little bit just to fit in with the group or the people or whatever person's in front of you, right? So try not to get caught up in that. You must be willing to not explain yourself. This is just a personal opinion, and it's a little rough, I know. But listen, hear me out. When we explain ourselves, the main hope when you explain yourself to another person is that you want to be understood by them. You want them to understand who you are. And sometimes we'll get caught up in that. And have you ever noticed, even when you explain yourself to somebody else, it just brings out a more skeptical and look, like you're explaining yourself, like, I don't know, you know. And people will tend to think about you what they want to think about you, and you got to be and learn to be okay with letting people believe what they want about you, even if it's not true, especially, and let it be. I know I spent so many times like wanting to confront people and like clear things up and like, well, wait a minute, no, you didn't hear my side and this, that, and that was a different, you know, blah, 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 you know, and then it was just all this wasted energy, man. And actually, it just makes you look more like why you have to defend yourself, right? You gotta learn to let things just go and like, you know what, I don't need to explain myself to you, right? Because I know who I am, right? So that's what I got. Tomorrow we'll talk about social, how we're authentic in social situations, right? How that plays out in community and society, and we'll also talk about some other things that I haven't really figured out yet. But you know, I'll have to do it every night. So stay tuned for part 2 tomorrow. Have a good night. Love you guys. God bless.